Hello there. Welcome to Just the Dis. We talk about Blu-rays and 4Ks here, folks, physical media, and this is the big one. This is my end of year favorites episode. And I should just preface by saying I do this a little differently than I think some of the other channels and podcasts. My idea of favorites is not only about, the whole package of a release, but it's also about the movies themselves. So you'll see some movies on my list here that don't necessarily have a ton of extra features, but that are, for me, important or interesting releases. Like, there's been a great number of, first time on Blu-ray releases over the last several years, and so some of that stuff is here, and I'll definitely try to make mention of those. Some of them are really nice upgrades, and there's a ton of different labels represented. I'm going to miss some stuff. It's just going to happen. You know what I mean? Like, there's no way I can get everything. There's no way. There's certain labels like that I just know that I'm underrepresenting, and I apologize in advance for that. But I'm going to do my best, and I'm going to go pretty quickly because there is a whole lot of stuff to talk about here. So let's start with one of my favorite labels out there. It's quite known that I love Fun City Editions, and I think they had a really great year, of stuff. And certainly one of my very favorite releases of the year is Baby It's You. Now, this had come out from Olive Films before, but this is a gigantic upgrade from that. This is a new scan, has an audio commentary with my friend Bill Ackerman that's fantastic. It is a really great release. Interviews with John Sayles, Griffin Dunn, A.B. Robinson, Rosanna Arquette, Vincent Spano, and Matthew Modine, all included here. This is a big favorite for me, one of my favorite romantic films, and I know one of the favorites of Jonathan Hertzberg of Fun City. Great stuff. Like I said, I'm going to move quickly here. Lifeguard. A really great character study from the mid-'70s with Sam Elliott as a career lifeguard going through some personal turmoil about, maybe I should change careers. And it's definitely got some stuff that feels of its time, but like a really, really great performance from Sam Elliott. And you also have a nice supporting cast, including Ann Archer and Kathleen Quinlan and Parker Stevenson. But really, really enjoyable. Big fan of Lifeguard. Yeah, really good stuff. This is fantastic. Welcome to Fun City. I'm pretty sure this was early this year. Even if it's not, I want to highlight it again. This is the trailer compilation that Fun City did, and full disclosure, I did a couple commentary tracks on a couple of these trailers, but it is fantastic, and to me, one of the best of its type. One of the best trailer compilations. It's broken down into, I believe, decades, and there's like play all functions. Like, this is a ridiculous amount of 506 minutes of stuff. And don't quote me on this, but I want to say all of these are new scans of 35 millimeter elements, and new trailers and stuff that you don't see online. Like, they've made an effort to dig up stuff that you can't find anywhere. Yeah, just fantastic. And a great source for discovering new movies, as trailer compilations often are. But yeah, fantastic trailer comp from them. Racing with the Moon, a really wonderful coming-of-age story directed by actor Richard Benjamin, starring Nicolas Cage, Sean Penn, Elizabeth McGovern. It's a period thing, 1943. But this is one I know, again, John Hertzberg, he may have been the first one to tell me about this movie. I may have seen it way back, but I know, again, this is another one that's a big personal favorite of his, and he did a lovely job with this release as well. There's a commentary by Bill Ackerman and Mariah Gates on this, and a Richard Benjamin commentary and making of, like really, really great stuff. And then Breaking Glass, which dovetails real nicely into the upcoming 4K release of Ladies and Gentlemen, the Fabulous Stains. This is like a new wave rise and fall British. It almost goes into a fantasy area, but it's just a really compelling rock story, you know, with Hazel O'Connor in the lead role and singing songs, and it's got Mark Wingett. No, wait, sorry, who's Phil Daniels from Quadrophenia, co-starring. Really, really solid stuff. Commentary by Mark Edward Hoyk, who knows a lot about this film. Very nice release. And lastly, this one is definitely the most underrated of the group, but still really interesting and a good Christmas movie now that I think about it. They're the key opening scene, and then there's another closing scene that takes place around Christmas and deals with Christmas shopping. But this one's directed by Ulu Grossbar, who did Straight Time, Falling in Love, with Robert De Niro and Meryl Streep, two people that connect with each other but are otherwise engaged with other people, and they start to fall for each other and it gets complicated. Definitely underseen, but really nice. Has a commentary from my friend Jim Hempel on it. So those are the Fun City releases. Those are fantastic. Definitely check out Fun City Editions and keep an eye on what they're releasing. They have some upcoming stuff, you know, like I said, Ladies and Gentlemen, the Fabulous Stains, Goodbye Columbus. They've announced Spike of Bensonhurst. That'll be coming. So definitely worth your time to keep an eye on. Criterion. I'll do this really quick. Again, there's some stuff I'm going to leave out. You know, Sorcerer, I'm assuming everybody, you know, gets that, right? And there'll be some obvious ones in here too, but like there's some stuff I'm not going to talk about. What I'm focusing on is, for the most part, movies that have, in terms of the Criterion, have not had a Blu-ray release to this date. So I'll start with those, and that's the most exciting stuff for me, and then we'll kind of go from there. So Crossing Delancey. This is Joan Micklin Silver's wonderful romantic comedy with Amy Irving and the great Peter Riegert, who is a pickle man. He sells pickles. She works for a bookstore, and her mother or her booby is trying to set her up with a matchmaker who thinks she should get together with Riegert, and they meet, and it doesn't quite work. But he's a great dude. Like, he's got this great energy about him. I just love Riegert in general, you know. And he's just got this great confidence about, like, hey, if you're not into me, that's fine. I get it. Like, let's move on, you know. But I'm open to this, you know. It's a really great confidence that he has. His family has this pickle business that he's had for years. Anyway, she's a little, you know, uppity about it, and it's a difficult character that Amy Irving plays, but I think it's a really, really great movie. Wonderful that this is a 4K. This didn't have a Blu-ray. Now it has a 4K, so that's fantastic. Midnight. This is just a Blu-ray, but this is Mitchell Leisen with a script by Billy Wilder and Charles Brackett, and one of my favorite underseen screwball comedies. I want to say it's from 1939. Yeah. And just a delightful movie starring Claudette Colbert, Don Amici, John Barrymore, just eating it up in this movie, Mary Astor. She comes to, I want to say, Paris, and has no money, Claudette Colbert that is, and she meets this cab driver played by Don Amici, and he starts helping her find her way around the town, and slowly he falls for her, and then he loses her, and then he has to find her. It's great. John Barrymore, she has to pretend to be sort of an upper echelon, upper crust person, and John Barrymore spots it and becomes amused by her and starts to help her, and it's great. Just a fantastic underseen screwball that is, again, one of my favorites. Mitchell Leisen did a lot of movies based on scripts by Brackett and Wilder or Preston Sturges. Easy Living is another one of my favorites. But yeah, this is fantastic. You Can Count on Me. This is Kenny Lonergan's movie with Laura Linney and Mark Ruffalo, a great brother-sister, familiar relationships, some romantic elements, not with them, but with like some other characters. Matthew Broderick's here. Great uncle relationship with a young, is it Kieran Culkin? Rory Culkin, sorry. Just a really, moving film, and one that we've been waiting on a Blu-ray for a long time. This is another one that got a full-on 4K upgrade and some nice special features as well. So a big recommend for that one. Okay, so we'll do it like this. Okay, this one, I haven't even had a chance to dig in yet. I just got this, but I already can tell you that I Know Where I'm Going is going to be one of my favorites of the year. This is one of my favorite Powell Pressburger films, and I think one of their most underrated efforts. It's black and white as opposed to color, but a beautiful romantic story with, Wendy Hiller and Roger Livesey. She is supposed to get married on this island of Kaloran, and she's figured out this rich guy is the one. This is what she's wanted, but then she runs into Roger Livesey, who's got a completely different vibe than her fiance, and they start to fall for each other, and it's this whole thing. Beautiful, beautiful film. Moving to the very end, and had been waiting for an upgrade of this, and this has just come out. So this is really exciting and has some nice extra features on it. But like I said, I haven't had a chance to dig into that yet. I also just got the His Girl Friday 4K, which, again, I can tell this is going to be great. Again, this has had releases, but this 4K is really exciting in that it also includes the front page, the 1931 version. Really nice Howard Hawks. Burden of Dreams, again, this had a Blu-ray, I think. But a really fantastic documentary by Les Blank about the making of Werner Herzog's film Fitzcarraldo, which is probably my favorite or among my favorite Werner Herzog films. Fascinating documentary. So many complications involved in making this movie. The idea of a man wanting to drag a steamship or a riverboat across a mountain, and then the realities of having to do that and dealing with warring, native peoples, and just so many complications, having to reshoot half the movie and then recast after one actor gets sick. Just really, really great stuff. One of the great documentaries. So that's lovely 4K upgrade. Spinal Tap. Okay, this is exciting because I have here the old DVD. And one of the big things about the DVD is that it had the commentary from the actors not in character. As Nigel Tufnell, David St. Hubbins, and Derek Smalls. There's the in-character commentary, which was then put out on the MGM Blu-ray, but this actor commentary, which is one of my favorite commentaries, and has been available only on this DVD and the Laserdisc, I believe, since its release, is now included on this 4K. Obviously, Spinal Tap 2 has come out this year. That's exciting. I enjoyed that movie, is for what it's worth. I thought it was really solid. But yeah, so this has all three commentaries. It has the actor commentary. It has the band commentary, and then it has a commentary with producer Karen Murphy, editors Robert Layton and Kent Beta, and then and a new conversation between Reiner and actor Patton Oswalt, and then of course the cutting room floor featuring 98 minutes of outtakes. So you have an entire other movie. Now I'm not sure if that was included on the other disc, but that was another big draw for this long out of print DVD. So anyway, very exciting to have Spinal Tap in its fully complete form. And then lastly, we have Carnal Knowledge, Mike Nichols' film, which I paired with Eyes Wide Shut in our Kubrick episodes of Pure Cinema. Definitely go check out that double episode we did. That was a lot of fun. But this one had not had a Blu-ray. Well, it had a German release, but not a domestic Blu-ray. And then it got a couple different releases really close together. I think I might prefer the Indicator release, but this is pretty great too. just a really dark and, I don't know, impactful telling of a friendship and some romances that skew pretty dark. Jack Nicholson in one of his great performances, Art Garfunkel, Candice Bergen, and of course we have Anne Margaret, as well as Rita Moreno, Carol Kane. Written by Jules Pfeiffer. Yeah, just a really powerful movie that I think had sort of dropped out of the film conversation. I still feel like it's not fully back. But definitely some differing commentaries and special features between the two releases. So you have a couple different options here. I tend to favor Indicator in general over most other labels. I just think their overall approach is fantastic, and I'm just a huge fan of Indicator across the board. So I'll talk about a few of my favorites, but they have an upcoming film noir release, which I don't have yet, which I probably won't get until after the first of the year. But I'm very excited about that new noir set coming. But this 4K of Carnal Knowledge, which, the Criterion did a 4K too, very exciting and packed with stuff. I think you get more features with this, maybe some different ones, but high recommend there. Then we have some classic films like Peter Ibbotson. This is a great Henry Hathaway movie, and Henry Hathaway was featured as part of Karina Longworth's The Old Man Is Still Alive season that she did this year for You Must Remember This. And I believe she talks about this movie specifically, a very beautiful romance about two people that find each other after a long amount of time. Gary Cooper and Anne Harding star in this one. There's some great fantastic stuff in this. I mean, phantasmagorical, like dreams where people are connecting, and it's not your traditional romance in that way. It has a metaphysical quality to it that I really, really like. But a big discovery for me. Ida Lupino here as well. Yeah, big time fan of this one. And this release of it, this is Region B locked. This is Peter Ibbotson. Yeah, really, really good stuff. Then we have another discovery for me, which is Spawn of the North. This is directed by Henry Hathaway as well. I had a couple from him this year. This one is it feels more like a Howard Hawks movie in a way. It's set in the Alaskan North, dealing with groups of fishermen and pirates who steal their fish, and a really nice performance from George Raft, who's buddies with Henry Fonda, but they become at odds. And Dorothy Lamour is with Raft, and yeah, it's just a really interesting. It's written by Jules Furthman, co-written by him, music by Dmitry Tiomkin, who worked with Hawks. Furthman worked with Hawks on a bunch of movies, including Only Angels Have Wings, which it just has this little echo of Hawks that I really like, but some really cool scenes in this, bunch of fishermen shouting in an iceberg to get it to shatter, and the things they shout are just ridiculous. There's a harpoon gun battle. It's just got some crazy stuff in it, and I was really impressed with this. This has a commentary by Kelly Goodner and Jim Hemphill, another Region B locked release. I think Kino put out both these movies, but I think I prefer these Indicator releases. Lastly, from Indicator, and I'll talk about another last film too, but this is the last film by William Wyler called The Liberation of L.B. Jones, starring Lee J. Cobb, Anthony Zerbe, Roscoe Lee Brown, Lee Majors, Barbara Hershey, Yaphet Kotto, Chill Wills. Really powerful, racially charged story. Look it up. It's well worth your time. I believe, I want to say Imprint put it out first by a couple months, but this is definitely the better version. Commentary and films of William Wyler, featurette, and blaxploitation essential guy. I mean, it's really, really solid, and a really kind of gutsy movie for a filmmaker of this age, for his last film. And this one is another one that had not been available on, definitely not on Blu-ray. I'm trying to think if it even had another release period, but exciting to have these kind of movies available in nice formats after not being available. But yeah, the last film of William Wyler. That's exciting. Then we got some stuff from the wonderful folks at Second Sight. I mean, you could really just pick everything they put out in a given year, but I'm going to go easy and pick out just a couple. The Nice Guys. This is the big old collector's special edition with like a full book. I mean, this is a beast. This book is huge. And Second Sight always does a wonderful job, folks. I mean, you know this. If you collect this stuff, you know that their releases are some of the best out there. So a lovely 4K UHD of one of my favorite films of the last, 20 years. The Nice Guys, Shane Black's film, has really grown on me. I really love Russell Crowe and Ryan Gosling together in this. I think they're fantastic. And really nice features on this one. Just a beautiful, beautiful set from Second Sight. Then we have The Brood, which has gotten, a Criterion release. It's gotten a lot of nice releases, but this is the 4K from Second Sight, and another one that has like a full-on book included with it in this special edition. I mean, this is one of, if not my favorite Cronenberg film. I love this. A worried father attempts to uncover a controversial psychologist's unconventional therapy techniques on his institutionalized wife amidst a series of horrific murders that seem to be targeting those closest to him. Yeah, that's one way to put it. It's also been called Cronenberg's Kramer versus Kramer because it was very much rooted in the divorce he was going through at the time and the child custody stuff. But yeah, new 4K restoration approved by Cronenberg, beautiful transfer, new commentaries and features and stuff. 120-page book, fantastic release, The Brood. Another label that I've been excited about this year was Lionsgate Limited. They are really doing great work, and I could have pulled out a bunch of stuff. I was thinking about like It Follows and their Way of the Gun 4K and King of New York and stuff like that. But the one I went with was Frailty. I really love this fantastic special edition of Frailty, the Bill Paxton directed supernatural thriller, if you will, about Paxton, and it's his debut film, which is even more impressive. But he's very chilling in it as a man with sort of a religious backing for murder and his kids and how they deal with it, and also stars Matthew McConaughey. But really, really good, and one that I don't think it had a Blu-ray. Don't quote me on that. There might have been a Blu-ray, but not a nice 4K like this, and it's a great transfer with lots of nice extras. Definitely check out lionsgatelimited.com. It's a very specific direct-to-consumer. It's like their Criterion, and Lionsgate Limited is doing a wonderful job with all their releases. I can't remember if the Conversation release is from this year or last year, but I loved that 4K as well. So they're doing some great stuff. High recommend for checking them out, but this is one of my favorites, Frailty. Then we have The Beyond from Grindhouse Releasing, who again also does wonderful stuff. And this is like, is this like a 6 discs? This is 6 disc release. It's a lot of stuff, and it comes with a book, and it's just again another beautiful transfer and different versions of the film and tons of extras. It's really, really something. And a soundtrack. Yeah. Grindhouse always does wonderful stuff. I love their release of Hollywood 90028 from last year. The Beyond is one of their big titles, and they did a beautiful job with it here. More Italian horror. We have the 4K of Black Sunday, Mario Bava's film Black Sunday from Shout Factory. This is a new 4K restoration from the original camera negative. It's got the international version. And commentaries, I think it's got 4 commentary tracks included here, but a really beautiful black and white, and one of the best Bava films. Just a great gothic mood, a perfect October movie, and just a real gem. So very excited to get a nice 4K of Bava's Black Sunday. We can get into Arrow here. We got a lot of great stuff from Arrow. I'll start with one of their big ones that didn't have any DVD release, let alone Blu-ray, and this is a Region B lock Blu-ray of Enemy Territory, which is a really great siege movie starring, Gary Frank, but Ray Parker Jr. really good in this, and a significant role for Jan Michael Vincent and Tony Todd, and shot by Ernest Dickerson. It's a really solid movie about a insurance salesman who is trying to deliver a insurance policy to an older black woman in this high rise, which is in a bad area, we'll say. And he, on his way up the elevator, offends a young member of a gang called the Vampires. And then the vampires come after him, but through their pursuit of him, they're going after basically everybody in the building who is, shielding him. And it becomes trying to get out of the building without getting killed kind of thing. And Ray Parker Jr. is like a phone repair guy who comes in to help. And Jan Michael Vincent is a Vietnam vet in a wheelchair who has this really tricked out, not tricked out, but kind of tricked out apartment. It's just like a room with guns and a gigantic steel door. And it's a really enjoyable movie, and one that I screened on VHS last year at a local micro cinema. I was really excited to see get this Blu-ray release. So it's a 35 original 35 negative transfer, and looks great and has a nice commentary with director Manoogian and film critics Dave Wayne and Maddie Budrowitz. Dave Wayne, of course, runs Snips Video in the UK, one of the great last video stores in the UK, and he does a lot of cool stuff for commentaries and things. But really great release. Big fan of Enemy Territory. We have Dark City in the 4K release. This is the special edition. I think that's sold out. And it has, a nice book and beautiful transfer. I love to see Arrow digging into the Warner Brothers catalog, especially with the news of Netflix just having bought Warner Brothers. It's understandably troubling in that it's unclear what this means for the Warner Brothers catalog, and Netflix's general approach to physical media is pretty scarce. So if I'm optimistic, I hope that them acquiring this catalog will mean more licensing out of those titles for physical release. That's my hope. We'll see if that happens. I have a sense that could be problematic. It could be difficult. But anyway, so Arrow's been putting out a lot of great Warner releases, and I've got a few more in this stack. But Dark City, one of the best releases from them this year for me. Miss 45. I love these slip boxes they have. This is one of Abel Ferrara's best. A really powerful, again, meditation on rape and revenge, starring Zoe Tamerlis, and a new 4K restoration from the original camera negative that looks great, and some really nice features on this 4K of Miss 45. Really good stuff. I should say, I got a lot of these from, especially the Arrow stuff, and the imports from Diabolic DVD, which, if you know me, I'm a huge Diabolic fan. I love Jesse and what they do over at Diabolic, and the types of films that they cater to, and the general approach they have is wonderful. Just one of the great physical media sites out there for you to grab stuff from. So anything I'm pitching here, you should see if you can grab from them, if not from the labels themselves. But great site. Okay, anyway, Miss 45. Then a couple more Warner Brothers. We have the 4K of John Carpenter's In the Mouth of Madness, which includes a commentary from my good friend Elric Kane with his co-podcast host Rebecca McHenry. Rebecca McHenry and them of Colors of the Dark. But yeah, beautiful. Tons of features. I mean, we're talking just epic features for this one. One of Carpenter's best latter films, including Reality Is Not What It Used to Be, in praise of John Carpenter in the Mouth of A New Appreciation by film scholar Alexandra Heller-Nicholas. Very cool stuff. She's one of the greats to do it in terms of this, but a beautiful new restoration of this gem from John Carpenter. Again, one of his best of the latter films. And then lastly from Arrow, I have Outland on 4K. This is a Peter Hyams movie. Brand new 4K restoration from the original 35 camera negative by Arrow. I really like this movie. This is one I paired with 2001 on our Kubrick episode. I think it's a fantastic reworking of High Noon, where you have Sean Connery as a new marshal who comes to the space station, this mining colony, where there's some problems, and Peter Boyle plays a guy who is sort of running things and is, let's say, not worried about people dying. And so Connery has to go against him and doesn't have any help, and there's an actual ticking clock, much like High Noon, but in space. It's great. I'm a huge fan of this. This new scan looks wonderful. Very cool stuff, Outland. Then we got some Kino stuff here. Let's talk about the 4K of Night of the Juggler. Fantastic stuff. I've been using that word a lot, but this one is another one that had no home video release beyond VHS that I'm aware of, and now has a beautiful 4K scan, and it's a new HDR Dolby Vision Master. It has one slight flaw. There's one repeated sequence that wasn't caught in QC, and they're not going to replace it. I don't know for sure if the new Radiance version is going to have that fixed. We'll see. I may have to get the Radiance version as well, as I love this movie. It's a great story of James Brolin plays a truck driver whose daughter is kidnapped by Cliff Gorman, who thinks his daughter is actually a rich man's daughter, and he's trying to get ransom, and he's got his own agenda, and he's definitely crazy. But so he's chasing, Gorman through the city trying to find his daughter. On top of that, he's an ex-cop who's got beef with Dan Hedaya, and so the cops don't want to help him. Not only that, Dan Hedaya's after him, so he's being chased by them. Then there's some gangs that he has to run. It's a really remarkable grindhouse, thriller. Great small role as a taxi driver by Mandy Patinkin, but a big, favorite. I think originally started by Sidney Furie, ended up being directed by Robert Butler, but just really a gem, and so exciting to see this on 4K. Yeah, really good stuff. Very exciting. Another one that I don't think it had a release. This is only a Blu-ray, but this is a really lovely movie. One of my favorite discoveries of the year is this movie Fade In, with Burt Reynolds and Barbara Loden, a filmmaker in her own right. It's one of the best low-key Burt performances out there, as far as I'm concerned. Brand new HD master by Paramount, and it is the story of this film production that comes to this small town in Moab, Utah, and Burt Reynolds and his buddies, played one of them's James Hampton, the dad from Teen Wolf, among other things. They decide to be drivers for this production, and Burt Reynolds' character kind of falls into a little romance with the assistant editor, played by the delightful Barbara Loden, and they have sort of an affair, and it's sort of a bittersweet thing, but it's just a beautiful little movie, and one that I was so excited to see. It's listed as 68, but I want to say it came out later than that. It came out in the 70s. But anyway, fantastic. Love it. Fade In. Great stuff. Then we have the Airport quadrilogy. This is also available as a 4-disc set. These are all of them together as one. Airport 75, Airport 77, and the Concorde Airport 79. Varying quality. I think Airport is, very solid. My personal favorite is Airport 77, which has a really great performance by Jack Lemmon, but it also has Lee Grant, Brenda Vaccaro, Joseph Cotton, Olivia de Havilland, Darren McGavin, Christopher Lee, George Kennedy, James Stewart. Plane full of art treasures, crashes in the Bermuda Triangle, and they have to get it up from the bottom of the ocean. It's crazy. Concorde Airport 79 is just nuts. Airport 75 is, I think, the most conventional one, but they're all a lot of fun, all now available in 4K, and all looking better than they ever have. So had to highlight those. Another great set. I just got this. I haven't even had a chance to really review it all the way through, but This is a wonderful Alec Guinness masterpiece collection. This is 4 of the Ealing comedies he did for Ealing Studios in the UK, all on 4K. Kind Hearts and Coronets, Lavender Hill Mob, The Man in White Suit, and The Lady Killers, which of course would be remade by the Coen brothers years later. But I had seen Kind Hearts, and I think Man in the White Suit, and I think Lady Killers. I'm not actually sure. But I definitely hadn't seen Lavender Hill Mob, which I just watched and loved. And these look fantastic. Studio Canal did these scans, and they look great. And Kind Hearts and Coronets is the crowning achievement of this group. But if you haven't seen these Alec Guinness movies, they're really, really wonderful. And this set is just a fantastic gift for somebody that's into British cinema. You know, if they don't have it, it's a beautiful collection. I have to recommend it. And then we've got a lot of stuff like Night of the Juggler. In some ways, we have Death Wish 3 on 4K. Death Wish 3, my favorite Death Wish movie. Brand new HDR Dolby Vision Master 4K scan. Commentaries, alternate ending. This movie's nuts. You know, UK standing in for New York, and Ed Lauder as a cop, Bronson. It's a blast. It's an absolute blast, and it's one that has been a favorite of mine for a long time. Actor Kirk Taylor is interviewed. I want to say he's the juggler in this, but you know, the gun Bronson uses is fantastic in this movie. I love this one. This is one I gotta do an official video for still. But Vice Squad. This is the Gary Sherman movie. This has gotten a 4K from Kino. Brand new UHD SDR master. Still looks better than it's ever looked, and has a ton of features on it, and just an incredible performance from the great Wings Hauser as a white pimp named Ramrod. This is a favorite of my buddy Elric Kane's, and this disc is just spectacular. Really, really nice, and another just grindhouse gem. Career opportunities. Anyone? This has got a 4K upgrade with a commentary by director Brian Gordon and another one by Eric Childress. Interviews with Dermot Mulroney and Kieran Mulroney, and the director of photography as well. But this has always been like sort of a nerd fantasy favorite of mine, written by John Hughes, starring Frank Whaley as the town liar, and the lovely Jennifer Connelly also here, getting trapped in a Target, and then there's a hostage situation. It's this whole thing. But the Whaley character is very entertaining, to say the least. One of his best performances, and kind of a cult thing, a movie that people know and like very much. This is a re-release, more or less, but I'm Mad Man came out from Scream Factory. I want to say this is more or less the same disc. The features, I believe, are the same, but this is just a gem that I've been championing since that Scream Factory came out, because that was when I saw it for the first time. But it stars the absolutely delightful Jenny Wright and Clayton Rohner, one of my low-key favorite 80s actors. Just a guy that, he did a ton of fun movies, including Modern Girls, April Fool's Day. He's in Just One of the Guys. He's just an everyman actor that I really enjoy. And this one is directed by Tibor Takis, who did The Gate, and this has some really cool animated sequences, really fun stuff, and a commentary. But this is a book comes to life movie. Jenny Wright works at a bookstore. She's reading this book called I'm Mad Man. As she's reading it, things start to happen in the real world that are like murders happening with a serial killer that's in the book. Comes to life. There's some monsters. It's really cool. And Clayton Rohner is her boyfriend, who's a cop who doesn't believe her at first, but then has to investigate. Anyway, it's really, really solid, and one of my low-key 80s horror favorites that still I don't think is streaming anywhere. So great parody comedy, Rustler's Rhapsody, from director Hugh Wilson, who did the Police Academy movie. Just a really fun parody of Westerns. This is a brand new 4K scan of the original 35 camera negative, starring Tom Berenger as this white knight kind of cowboy, and there's all kinds of spoofy elements to it. It's just a beauty. And this has a commentary from friend of the show, Heath Holland, with writer-filmmaker Max Allan Collins, a nice inclusion. But this one's never been on Blu-ray before, so that's very exciting, but a lot of fun. If you like these kind of Westerns, it's really fun. A couple things from Imprint here. We have this Adventure Collection 6. The reason I'm highlighting this one is really mostly for, I mean, it's got some cool stuff. It's got King Rat, it's got Counterattack with Paul Muni and the Bridget Remagen. But the reason I'm mostly highlighting it is for this. Abandoned Ship, Tyrone Power. One of my favorite sinking ship movies. Basically opens as the ship has sunk. We're sorting through the debris of the ship, and it becomes like a lifeboat kind of movie. If you like Lifeboat, it's kind of that. It becomes like a very tense situation with the survivors, and Tyrone Power is great. And this was never been on Blu-ray or DVD before. I think it's only been on VHS. This is no features, no frills, but one of my favorite discoveries in the last decade or so when I came across it, and I was just really excited to see this get a Blu-ray. I don't know that it's going to get another stateside Blu-ray from Columbia Pictures, but looks good and well worth getting this set just for that. But the other movies are good too, so wanted to highlight that set. Then we have this Powell Pressburger Collection 1, the Cinema Powell Pressburger. And this has got The Spy in Black, 49th Parallel, Life and Death of Colonel Blimp, Canterbury Tale, Matter of Life and Death, and Black Narcissus. Now, some of these have had releases before, but 49th Parallel and I want to say Canterbury Tale. I mean, I think 49th has had some kind of release, but I don't think Spy in Black has. Don't quote me on that. But I'm pretty sure Canterbury Tale is getting its solo release here. There's also a John Huston set that I don't have with me that has it has some really enjoyable stuff in it, including Under the Volcano and Wise Blood, and that's a nice set too. But yeah, this is solid, and there's some new features here on this set that aren't included on the Criterion releases of these movies, and just some Powell Pressburgers that have not been as easily available. I don't know that they're debuts, all of them, but I think Canterbury Tale is. So that's exciting. And then lastly from Imprint, we have their release of the Alfred Hitchcock Hour, 32-hour-long episodes, and new 2K scans from the original 35 negative from Imprint TV. This is a really beautiful set. This is the Alfred Hitchcock Hour, not Alfred Hitchcock Presents. Those are half an hour, I believe, and I believe this is after that. But really great set, really worth picking up, and I love Imprint Television. I think their release of The Prisoner was really a fantastic set from a few years back. They also put out Kolchak this year, which I think is just like the Kino set, but still a really great release if you don't have Kolchak. But yeah, recommend that. We have a couple documentaries here, actually from a couple different labels. We'll start with Canadian International Pictures, which is one of my favorite Vinegar Syndrome partner labels. This is just a spectacular movie. Devil at Your Heels, another one introduced to me by my buddy Elric Kane. We were lucky enough to be involved in this release. We do a little introduction for a screening that we had done of the new restoration at the Cinematheque in Los Angeles. And it's just a spectacular documentary. Like, it is like American Movie meets Evel Knievel is kind of what it is. It's about a guy named Ken Carter who's a daredevil stunt driver who wants to jump a rocket car across this river. He wants to jump like a mile. It's a ridiculous idea, but it's the preparation for the jump. He's trying to get the ramp built. He's trying to get the car right. And we're watching and just going, oh my God, is this going to work out, or is he going to kill himself? What's going to happen? And it is truly something to behold. New scanned and restored in 2K from a 16mm interpositive by the National Film Board of Canada. Tons of great features, as usual, with Canadian International Pictures. This is one of my favorite releases they put out, and they put out a lot of good stuff. But this, highest recommendation, just one of the great documentaries, Underseen Docs. And speaking of which, another great doc from them, and one of my favorite discoveries of the year, is Hookers on Davy. And this is a story of, well, at the height of the 1980s, following the breakthrough documentary P4W Prison for Women, filmmakers Janice Cole and Holly Dale turned their lens on Vancouver's Davie Street neighborhood, a bustling, neon-soaked hub for both trans and cisgender sex workers, informally known as the prostitution capital Canada. The result was Hookers on Davie, a landmark document combining candid interviews with a group of instantly memorable subjects and vivid location footage of their street work. It's just remarkable stuff. I'm using that word a lot, but there's some really, it's a really powerful, again, portrait of these prostitutes, and you hear their stories and how they got involved in sex work, and it's not a pretty sight, a lot of it, but they are truly endearing folks, and just this release is really, really excellent. I mean, just commentary after commentary, and you know, home movies, and I mean, just this stuff. You got to keep an eye on Canadian International Pictures, folks. I mean, they are really, really going above and beyond with all their releases, and so many movies they're putting out I've never heard of, and this was one of them. But I was so excited to see them put out this kind of movie, a 4K release of a documentary ostensibly about transgender prostitutes, and it is just a really, really great movie. So high recommend for me on that. A couple more of my favorite documentaries getting Blu-rays this year, in this case from Oscilloscope, and this is truly one of my big favorites last, I guess, almost 30 years. This one's from like 2004, and that's I Like Killing Flies, which is documentarian and longtime customer Matt Mahurin follows chef and proprietor Kenny Shopson and his family as they face the gentrification of New York's Greenwich Village, which threatens continued existence of Shopson's general store. I Like Killing Flies captured Kenny as he not only conjures morsels of wit and wisdom on work, family, politics, sex, and even cooking. Mahurin believed Kenny's brilliance transcended the four walls of his corner eatery and needed to be shared with those who would never have a chance to partake in Kenny's food for the belly and soul. Kenny is one of those characters that you look for in documentaries. He is a blue-collar guy, but the restaurant itself is really, really neat, and they have this ridiculous menu with all kinds of fusion, and I even bought Kenny's cookbook and have been using it from time to time, but he just has this wisdom about him that I really, really like. This also includes Cooking with Kenny, the short film. But this is the first time this DVD had been out of print. It'd been on and off YouTube. It might still be on YouTube, but it keeps getting pulled down. But really one of my favorite documentaries of the last long time. I absolutely love I Like Killing Flies. And another from Oscilloscope that I also love is The Cruise by Bennett Miller, who would go on to do Moneyball, among other things. But sailing the streets of Manhattan atop a double-decker bus, Timothy Speed Levitch waxes philosophical as the city's most eccentric tour guide. Speed's bombastic and psychedelic poetry is captured in the documentary The Cruise, the groundbreaking debut feature film from two-time Academy Award-nominated director Bennett Miller, remastered for its 25th anniversary. Additional never-before-seen footage here. But yeah, another character. These are the kind of documentaries I love, about a person who is just fascinating. And this guy, the way he speaks is just so its own thing. Like, he's so sophisticated and so intelligent and just out there that he is immediately a guy that you're like, wow, I just really love this dude, you know? So big recommend on those two. Let's see here. A few more things. What do we got? All right, let's talk about Warner Archive. Okay. We got a stack of stuff here. One of my favorite rediscoveries of the year is Rafferty and the Goldust Twins. This one I don't even think had a DVD, but definitely did not have an HD transfer, and it's a 235 widescreen scope movie, so really needed this upgrade, and it's great. It's a great 70s road movie. You could pair it with something like Scarecrow, which is another favorite of mine from that period, but this is Alan Arkin plays Gunny Rafferty, who's like an ex-military guy who's kind of a drunk, very depressed, working for the DMV in Los Angeles, one day drinking his lunch in, I believe... is he in, I forget where he is, if he's in Griffith Park or something, and he's kind of kidnapped by these two wayward gals played by Sally Kellerman and Mackenzie Phillips, who kidnap him at gunpoint and want to make him drive them to New Orleans. And so they go on this little adventure together, and it's really special. It's funny and dark and very 70s in its way, but a movie that really grew on me upon this rewatch. And so it's a high recommend for fans of 70s cinema. Let's see here. I got some classics. I got some cartoons. All right. Gabriel Over the White House. This is directed by Gregory LaCava, who did My Man Godfrey, among other things, but it's about a president who kind of loses his mind. It's a very appropriate film for right now. As America despaired during the early days of the Depression, Hollywood met the challenge with chorus girls, gangsters, romances. Walter Houston gives a bravura performance starring as a corrupt U.S. president who has a brush with an angel after a near-fatal car crash, awakens determined to right all of America's wrongs, now or by any means possible. Towering like a Yankee colossus, he sweeps constitutional safeguards aside to tackle poverty, crime, and world peace as a populist dictator, winning the adulation of a grateful nation. Really unique, and a movie that, like I said, it feels appropriate for right now, kind of the opposite of what's happening, and it's really special and a great Walter Houston performance. A Joe Dante favorite, I want to say, but really nice for this to get a Blu-ray. We have His Kind of Woman. This is another classic, a big favorite of Elric Kane and mine, with one of my favorite performances from Vincent Price as Mark Cardigan, about a down-on-his-luck gambler who's sent to a resort in, I think, Mexico, meets Jane Russell, and they kind of get together. It's like a hangout, but it's also a little bit of a noir thriller. It's really something special, directed by John Farrow. I really like this one a lot. It has a commentary by film historian Vivian Subcheck. But I love Robert Mitchum. It's one of my favorite Robert Mitchum movies, and that's saying something because he made a lot of great movies. But if you like Out of the Past, it's not quite like that. It's a little more light in some spots, but it's really, really good. Big fan of that one. Another last movie, we get Seven Women. This is John Ford's last film. Another widescreen movie that had not gotten... It had gotten a DVD, I think, but no HD master. And this one is really, again, potent stuff. Final film, illustrious career, nearly 5 decades. John Ford breaks his own mold. Famed for making westerns, he directed an Eastern. Accredited as a man's man director, he created a film that starred not one, but a septet of women. Finally known for big outdoor films, he keeps action confined within the walls of an isolated mission in China circa 1935. Anne Bancroft is superb as a tough, realistic, cynical doctor who locks horns with the domineering head of the mission, Margaret Leighton, a woman of strict moral values, but when their ordered world is shattered by invading bandits, gallantry, courage, and sacrifice, traits common to all Ford films, rise to the surface in a most startling fashion. Yes, Seven Women is a departure, but in true Ford fashion, it explodes with the same dramatic truth and visual intensity that have forever enshrined him as one of cinema's true poets. It's really a neat movie, and it has just a gangbusters ending that you're just like, damn, that's wow, okay. So really good stuff. It's nice to see last movies from two greats like William Wyler and John Ford getting releases. Wacky Races, we have the complete series here. I just have always been a fan of these cartoon sets from Warner Archive. This is just like an all-star thing and a lot of fun. I like race stuff. Movies, cartoons, what have you. Wacky Races is a blast and has some nice new featurettes and stuff, and of course always looks great. The Warner Archive stuff, it should go without saying that they do a delightful job with their transfers and really good stuff. Looney Tunes Collector's Vault Volume 1, a bunch of more Looney Tunes stuff that I think these are the rarest titles, the biggest stars, the most requested cartoons direct from the vault. Disc 1 presents 25 choice tunes never before released on DVD or Blu-ray. A really nice set of a ton of different cartoons, and I love these Looney Tunes sets. I hope they keep these coming. We have a nice 4K from them. They actually put out a few 4Ks, including High Society and this, and the next one I'm going to talk about, but Curse of Frankenstein, one of the first Hammer 4Ks they put out, I think. But one of the classics from that studio, starring the great Peter Cushing, appropriately timed with the new Frankenstein from Guillermo del Toro. I probably prefer this. This is a really, really solid and beautiful transfer with tons of nice extras, including multiple versions, multiple aspect ratios of this movie. Really, really good stuff from Warner Archive. 4K. And then we also have a 4K of Get Carter, which is a new 4K. I don't know if... I believe the scan is new. Because there was a 4K of this released by BFI. But I think this has some new stuff on it that's a little different. There might be a few things on the BFI that aren't on this. But this is one of the great... this is remastered and restored from a 2022 British Film Institute restoration. So it may be the same scan as that. But if you don't have that, you definitely want this. This is one of the great British gangster films, one of the great Michael Caine performances. Really, really, really solid stuff. Some more cartoons. We have Frankenstein Jr. and the Impossibles, the complete series. This is a delightful show that I was never aware of until the DVD release came out. And it's got multiple... you've got Frankenstein Jr. Episodes and The Impossibles, which is like this band that these guys at the bottom, and they have like secret powers, and it's really a special show. Buzz Conroy's heroic boy genius who builds the powerful robot Frankenstein Jr. When the ghastly genie, the junk man, and other evildoers get up to their old tricks, Frankie and his young creator crank into action. The crime-fighting coalition continues with The Impossibles, a group of superheroes disguised as a beatnik rock group at the direction of Big D, Multi-Man, Coil Man, and Fluid Man, serve hot rockin' musical justice, thwarting thieves and corralling crooks with their transformative powers. Classic cartoon fun isn't just possible, it's guaranteed in this 2-disc, 18-episode collection, now newly restored in high def from 4K scans of the original camera negatives. Beautiful looking, really, really cool show. I'm a big, big fan of this one, and I didn't know it until Warner Archive put it out. And lastly, we have from them the Huckleberry Hound show. This is the complete original series on 11 discs. A really, really wonderful television show starring the great Huckleberry Hound. I want to say voiced by Dawes Butler. But yeah, beautiful scans, new features, just a really, really wonderful set from Warner Archive. A big fan of that. And just a few more things here. We have from Umbrella, we have the movie Triangle, Christopher Smith movie, kind of a time loop horror movie about a woman on a boat. I really, really like this movie. I just showed it to my girlfriend the other night, and I was just reminded of how much I enjoy it. But a lot of great features here, including commentaries from the director, multiple commentaries. Commentary from director Chris Smith, commentary from producer Chris Brown, moderated by Shane Armstrong, commentary by director of photography Robert Humphreys, and production designer Melinda Doring. Interview with writer, director Smith, interview with producer. It's a really nice release, and a widescreen movie, and it's from 2009, but a really time loop horror gem, I have to say. One more I should have snuck into my imprint section, but I'm a fan of Swashbuckler. I talked about this on our Anything Goes 70s episode with Larry Karaszewski on Pure Cinema. It's goofy fun. It's out of time. Like, it's a movie that's made in 1976. It's following Jaws, but it's like a throwback to like the films of Errol Flynn, in this case starring, of all people, Robert Shaw as this pirate who's... it's a swashbuckler. So after rescuing his right-hand man from execution, swaggering buccaneer Red Ned Lynch, that's Mr. Shaw, and he's saving James Earl Jones. And hot-tempered noblewoman Jane Barrett, that's Genevieve Bujold, joins forces as they attempt to free citizens of Jamaica from the evil Lord Durant, played by Peter Boyle, and a great buffoonish military role from Beau Bridges. It's one of those that it's goofy fun. I can't say it's a great movie, but for me, it's very enjoyable. Hollywood spectacle. again, missing the mark completely for 1976 in terms of what the audiences wanted, but I love swashbucklers, and so even a 70s throwback is enjoyable. So this is the first Blu-ray of this movie. There may be others. It's not a new scan, but it looks good, and it's $235. It's since become available in digital. You can actually buy it on digital now too, which is new stuff. But from director James Goldstone, who did Roller Coaster, among other things, which I love. And Roller Coaster's the movie he did after this, which I think is much more in line with what people wanted in the 70s. But yeah, Swashbuckler is fun. We have this release of Nomads. This is a special edition release from TF Releasing. I forget what this stands for. Tygon Films. This came out from Scream Factory, but this is the debut film of John McTiernan, who go on to do Predator, Die Hard. Like, he's an action master, and I really like this movie. It's a supernatural horror thriller with Pierce Brosnan, newly scanned and restored in 2K. New audio commentary with director John McTiernan, moderated by film writer Eric Lichtenfeld. Pierce Brosnan remembers it. I mean, it's Kim Newman has a new video essay. It's a really interesting story about these, like, they're not vampires, they're not zombies, they're like these people, these nomads, these people that exist in the fringes and have somehow been able to avoid getting caught, but now this woman's investigating them and it gets dangerous. And some people hate this movie, but I'm a big fan, and this is a really great release of it. So that's cool. Then we have from TerraVision, we have a really delightful coming of age film called Grow Up Tony Phillips, starring is it Tony Vespi? Yeah. Who Hates Halloween? All of Tony Phillips' high school friends, apparently. It's senior year, and they've now decided they're too cool for costumes and pumpkins. When his older cousin returns home right before the holiday, Tony starts to wonder if he really is the dork everyone thinks he is, or if he's just ahead of the curve. Graveface Films is shrieking with joy at the HD debut of Emily Hagan's Grow Up Tony Phillips. Emily Hagan's, of course, did Pathogen, and there was a lovely screening of this movie at Cinematic Void at the American Cinematheque this year with her and with the cast. It's just one of the great underappreciated Halloween movies. This is a movie about Halloween. It's about a love of Halloween, and I love this movie. And so I can't recommend this enough. It's got a booklet with writing from Emily Hagan's and Tony Vespi, commentary with Emily Hagan's and Tony Vespi, making of documentary, group reunion. I mean, this is a really, really wonderful film. I can't recommend it enough. From, I want to say, like 2013. Probably my favorite Emily Hagan's film. Like, really, really good. Then we have Deadly Spawn. This is a new one from Synapse. They did a beautiful 4K of this low-budget creature gem. Yeah, it's featuring classical practical creature creations by John Dodds, who did Spookies, Black Roses. The Deadly Spawn has been totally remastered in 4K from the original 16 camera negative with hours of supplementary material. Yeah, this is a really special regional horror movie with like a crazy monster you can kind of see illustrated on the cover. Some great effects, and just really its own thing, completely outside of Hollywood by a long stretch, but a very memorable and weird horror movie, and a beautiful package by Synapse Films. I really hope to see they're supposedly working on Tag the Assassination game. I hope that comes out in 2026, but I always look forward to the new Synapse releases, and this one's a real beauty for sure. A few more box sets. We have the Peanuts Ultimate Collection, featuring 40 classic TV specials. This is just a beauty and a great Christmas gift for fans of Charlie Brown, where you have all the classic specials and all the others that you've never heard of, like what there's one about like voting. You're not elected Charlie Brown. You know, it was a short summer Charlie Brown, played again Charlie Brown. I mean, tons of stuff I've never even heard of. So old and new and remastered and beautiful looking Peanuts films in this set. Really great stuff. Then we have this really wonderful box set of Italian horror from our good friends at Cauldron Films. 4 directed by Lamberto Bava. You have Graveyard Disturbance, The Ogre, Until Death, and Dinner with a Vampire. Graveyard Disturbance is my favorite of these. A really cool movie about a group of people who get stuck in this underground labyrinth, and it's really nuts. It's very strange, very Italian in its way, but never had a Blu-ray prior to this. And I haven't even seen all of the films in this set, but I love it, and I love Cauldron Films. I love their box sets. I love their care in their releases, and this is a high recommend from me for that. And lastly, we have House of Psychotic Women, the Severin set. This is the Rarities Collection Volume 2, which includes Butterfly Kiss, Morgiana, The Savage Eye, and The Glass Ceiling. And these are all films I've never heard of. And these are films that are curated by Kayla Janice, who has a really cool collaboration going with Severin Films. I really enjoyed the first Psychotic Women set. She obviously has the book, House of Psychotic Women, these films are drawn from. But yeah, really, really cool stuff. 11 combined hours of special feature, very curious about a couple of these that I haven't seen yet, but these are always great box sets. Severin does a wonderful job. I have underrepresented them this year. I didn't get enough of their stuff this year, but I hope to correct that in 2026. Anyway, thank you for hanging out with me and listening to me drone on about all these movies and all these discs. I really appreciate it, and I hope you find some stuff in here that you hadn't heard of or that is of interest to you that you may not hear about on other channels or other podcasts. Thank you for your support and your kind attention. And that's it. I'll talk to you very soon. Bye-bye.